Well, today's the day we've all been waiting for, part 2 of Moda Blockheads 5. So today we're going to work on block 1 of part 2, and today's block is by Sherry McConnell of A Quilting Life, and I love Sherry McConnell's pattern, so I'm really excited. So for this time around, I was debating back and forth which fabric line to choose, and I decided, since I did Lella Boutique, her Christmas line, the first go round, that I would use her Old Glory, her new line coming out really soon. I believe it's February. And for this go round. So this fabric is gorgeous. She's never done a red, white, and blue kind of Americana line before. I got this at Sample Spree when I went to Quilt Market in October, and I've been waiting for the perfect project. So figured I started with Lella Boutique. I will use Lella Boutique for this part too. So two great Lella Boutique quilts I'm going to have. I haven't finished my quilt top quite yet. I finished all my blocks, of course, but I haven't had time to put them all together. So I'll be doing that soon, and then I will show them here in one of my Moda Blockheads videos. Today's videos are going up a little bit later than I hoped, just because I just got home from my quilt retreat, my New Year's Eve quilt retreat. But I will have these up on a more regular basis every Wednesday for the Moda Blockheads. So I'm really excited about this go round, because this quilt is going to be a larger quilt, and I love this fabric. So I've got this fabric bundle, this fat quarter bundle, and I've got some background. This is Bella Solid 200, which is the off-white that was recommended to go with this fabric, so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to go print off my pattern, and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our corner units of this block. And so to start with, we're going to take our B piece and our C piece, and we're going to lay them on top of each other and putting them right sides together. You're going to want to draw a line corner to corner, and we're going to sew 1/4 inch on both sides of the line. So let me pull these out. You're going to make 4 of these units, and you also need 2 A squares per unit to complete the cornerstones. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that apart on the line I drew. And then I'm going to press these towards the darker side, which in my case is the stripe. So I'm going to finger press them first, and then go grab my iron and give these a press. And then after you get these all pressed, and I recommend chain piecing all 4 corners, pieces for all corners, 4 corners at the same time. Once you've got them all pressed, you're going to trim them all down to 2.5 inches square. I'm just going to do one corner with you guys today. So now I'm going to take my squares, and I'm going to grab a ruler that has a 45-degree angle on it. Line it up along the sewn line, and I'm going to trim this down to 2.5 inches square. And I'm going to do this for all of my pieces. So you should have 8 of these half square triangles that are going to be part of your corner units of this block. Okay. So after we've got that done, I'm going to close my rotary cutter. I'm going to lay this out with my 2.5 inch A squares. And I'm going to sew my unit together like a 4-patch. So I'm going to join these two and join these two, and then we'll put those rows together to make our corner unit. And typically we press towards the dark side, but I'm going to actually press towards the white just because there's less bulk on that side. Hit them with a little bit of magic juice. And then I'm going to give these a press with the iron. Then, because we press these both towards the white or the solid fabric, and they have to go opposite directions to make this corner unit, they should nest up really nicely right here. So I'm going to put those together and sew a 1/4 inch down to make one of our corner units. So did you all have a great holiday season? How is your new year going so far? I know it's only a few days in, but so far so good. It's kind of hard to believe that 2023 is behind us already. Okay, so I'm going to finger press that, and then I'm going to press that seam. Alright, and we've got a nice cornerstone block there. So I've got my other cornerstone blocks already done. So I've got 4 that look something like this. So I'm going to put those aside for now since I've got all those done. And the next thing I'm going to make is I'm going to skip around in the pattern a little bit, and I'm actually going to make the center block first. The very center of this block. Okay? So that's the next easiest thing to do, and then we'll get to the flying geese. So you need your F piece, your center square, and your G pieces. And I'm going to take these squares and we're going to draw a line corner to corner, which I've already done, and we're going to attach them on all 4 corners, but you can do 2 at a time. So the opposite corners you can do, and then we'll trim and press these, and then you can do the other opposite 2 corners. So we're making a square in a square block essentially. Make sure it's nice and lined up. You can pin if you like. This one's wanting to be tricky and move all around on me. There we go. So now I'm going to trim these 1/4 inch away from the line that I just sewed. And after we do that, then we can press them and add the other 2. Okay, so you'll have these extra. And if you're a scrap keeper, you could sew these together and make 2 half square triangles. Just save that piece for something else. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put my magic juice on here. Give these a finger press and then grab the iron. And then we'll do the opposite 2 sides. Okay, I'm going to do the other 2 sides. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing I just did. Trim these and then press them. So once you finish the center block and your corner blocks or corner units, you are getting there with this block. I feel like the next part, and that's why I saved it for last, is the hardest part. Not hard, it's just different. The technique's a little bit different for doing flying geese than what typically they show a beginner. So I just wanted to leave that for the end and show you guys. Oh, that's a nice square and a square. Came out lovely. Alright, so there's my square and a square block. That's my center. So far, we've got our center block, we've got our corner blocks, and now we're going to make the flying geese, which is going to make, let me grab the paper here. We're going to make the flying geese blocks that are going to make this piece right here. So the center of the rows, essentially. Okay? So, I've already made 4 of my flying geese because you're going to make 8 altogether. You're going to make 2 sets. One set is going to have one of your colors in a background, and the other set is going to have where the background will be the star and then your colors. So I'm going to put these blue ones aside, and I'm going to work with this. So the first thing you're going to do, and this is a very different way of doing flying geese. Usually we have a rectangle and we put one square on one side, one square on the other, and flip them, and you've got your flying geese. So this time instead, what we're going to do is you're going to draw a line corner to corner on all of your squares, and you're going to line the first one up on the top left and line the second one up on the bottom right. And we're going to sew a 1/4 inch on either side of this line all the way down on both sides. Okay, so really carefully take it over or pin in place. And this will make you all 4 flying geese that you need for this block. Okay, so that's the block so far. Now we're going to cut down that center line, just like that. And I know that seems really, really weird, and you're going to have this weird block that looks something like this. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press these. So I'm going to close my rotary cutter so I don't get cut. And I'm going to put some magic juice right on the stitch line. And I'm going to go ahead and finger press these. And then grab my iron and really press these. They kind of look like hearts right now. Okay, that one's done. Now, I always get this question, did I starch or anything? I don't starch. I did use Acorn Easy Pressing Solution on my fabric before I cut it. And that's what's in the pen that I'm using, that I lovingly call Magic Juice, because it's magic. Makes your blocks nice and flat. Okay, so now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this odd shaped thing that looks sort of like a heart, and you're going to take your other 2 squares that are also have a drawn line from corner to corner, and you're going to put it right here on the last corner towards these pieces, towards these triangles. And you're going to sew again on both sides of the line, a 1/4 inch. Same thing here. So let's do that. It's a very different way of doing flying geese, but it works. That one. And then we're going to have to trim these down after we cut these apart and press them. And if you're doing I should have said this at the beginning, I'm making the 12-inch size blocks. So every size that I talk about is for the 12-inch size block. So everything's going to be in half for the 6.5-inch blocks. So I'm making the 12.5-inch blocks. So you're going to cut these flying geese, you're going to trim them down to 2.5 by 4.5 inches. So before we do that, we're going to cut these apart. So now they're going to look more like flying geese. They just need to be trimmed and pressed. Okay, now I'm going to grab my iron, put some magic juice on these guys, and get them pressed. And they look kind of funny right now, and they do have some dog ears on them right now. But don't worry about that, because we're going to trim all these down, and then they'll be the right shape. Okay. I'm not sure if this technique is to save fabric or to save time or maybe both. But I'm so used to doing flying geese the kind of standard way where you have a rectangle and 2 squares that I feel like this might be just a little bit slower for me. But we're going to do it how the designer did it. And it's kind of fun to do something new every once in a while. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to trim these guys down to 2.5 by 4.5 inches square. Okay, sorry for the pause. One of my kiddos needed me, and then I came back and I was trimming all these, and I thought I was videoing, but I wasn't. But anyway, get all your flying geese, both sets, trimmed to 2.5 by 4.5 inches square. And then we're going to put these together just like this. So you're going to have your solid or your colored piece touching your white. So it almost kind of looks like it makes a square with 1/2 being your background and 1/2 being your print. So now I'm going to join all 4 of these together, and these are going to become the center of the outside rows. Okay, you should have something that looks a bit like this, and I'm going to press it out towards what is my blue. And then once you have all 4 of these done, you can lay out your block for final assembly. Because now we've got all of the components done to make this block. So here is my center square and a square. There's that piece. And that one. And that one. So you can see a star forming. Really lovely. Okay, and I've got my corner pieces. Nope, I think that goes there, and there, and there. Okay, so I did use directional fabrics here, so if you do, just make sure if it bugs you that they go different directions, that you pay attention to placement. I made sure that they were placed like the way I wanted them. So now all I have to do is sew these rows together. What a pretty block. Okay, so there's all my rows sewn together. I'm going to give these a press and then sew the rows together to make my block, and then I'll come back and show you my block all finished. All right, well, I finished my block. Here it is. So this is block 1 of the Moda Blockheads 5 part 2. This block is by Sherry McConnell, and who is of a quilting life and a Moda designer. Of course, these are all Moda designers. And the block, again, is called Dream Big. I had to look at that. I couldn't remember. So here is my 12.5-inch block. It's really pretty. I like this block a lot. It wasn't too bad. Nice and easy to put together. I hope this video helped you a little bit. Sorry for the little interruption in the middle. Hopefully next week I won't have that. Like I said, I was filming this later in the day than I typically do, so my kiddos were up. Usually I do it first thing in the morning, so hopefully next time there will be no interruptions. All right, guys. Well, I'm really excited about doing Moda Blockheads 5 Part 2 with you. So let me know below what fabric line you chose. If you have your fabrics picked out, or if you are sewing from your stash, let me know what colors you're using. I would love to see that or hear about that. I also have my own private Facebook group. I would love to have you join and post your pictures there. I know there's a Moda Blockheads group, but I have my own group as well. And if you join, then you'll just have to answer a few questions, but you can post pictures of your blocks so I can see what you're making. I love seeing subscribers makes, because it inspires me all the time. All right, great. Well, have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next week for Moda Blockheads 5 Part 2 Block 2. That's a whole mouthful. Bye.